We're going to continue with our theme on bashing the Pittsburgh Pirates organization today. Because if you haven't seen this story, this is a picture of it, folks. They were selling something called Bucco Bricks that they were selling to fans back in the late 90s. And it was to immortalize, a loved one's name that was a big fan into the concrete in front of the stadium. Well, guess what? The same Bucco's management that was guilty of removing the Roberto Clemente 21 and replacing it with a seltzer vodka type of advertisement. They also dug up the Bucco Bricks, and they were found in a landfill. It was another honest mistake, and they had to issue their second apology in the same week to their fan base. What do you think about that one?
They let Andrew McCutcheon go to only bring him back. Makes no sense. This is an organization that makes a lot of mistakes. And we heard, obviously, what they did recently with Roberto Clemente's number, taking it down because of promotion and advertisements and sponsorship. Do they really need the money? They have a rich owner. They have one of the nicest stadiums, and they pack out a lot of their games. So they don't really need the money, but they're going out there and doing despicable things, and now they're doing this. This is an organization that cannot make these kind of mistakes because they're in position with some of the young, talented players that they have with their franchise to move forward as one of the better teams in the National League in the future. This is a terrible move. Again, another stupid move by an organization that's, over the years, at least professional-wise, have been very professional to their fans and to the organization.
You haven't heard anything about them, too.
No.
And, being blue-collar and where they're at, like, they felt like when they put the Bucco Bricks in that you were a part of the stadium. And that's like a part of the lore of, PNC and what they did and how you have to applaud it. Like, that's not a mistake. You're seeing these things and you have to make a comprehensive decision to dig these bricks up. It's not like they're just hanging out from a leftover, like, remodel or something. It's like you had to dig these up. You haven't heard this much about the Pittsburgh Pirates in a negative light in a long time. So I don't know what's going on in their front office, what they're thinking, but they need to figure something
They're
out.
not thinking. That's the problem. They're not thinking.
Yeah, that definitely didn't hire the best people, I guess, to oversee that project, that operation that was going on. But it's definitely heartbreaking for the people that actually spent the money to have a piece of history and not even have the chance to be able to go and get it. If you're going to throw it out, you might as well give it back to them, right? Like, hey, you have a chance to come in and reclaim your Bucco Brick. It was here. It was a part of history. It was a part of, whatever, however many great seasons, bad seasons, whatever. Here's your chance to have it back. And instead it's just in the dump. And that just doesn't make sense to me. Hopefully,
they could have done it so easy. They either just, send out like a mass email.
That's what I'm saying.
Or put a sign up or talk about it on the broadcast.
They say bad things come in threes.
Loyal.
And good things come in threes, bad things come in threes. So I'm hoping that's a myth, but we'll see what happens here with the Clemente thing, now the Bucco Bricks, and then,
I got the perfect headline for them over there in Pittsburgh. Bucco's Schmuckos.
Well, they're not schmuckos. They have solid players there.
I'm just saying,
definitely not the team.
They've been this year. They've been schmucks, so they're schmuckos. That's all I'm saying.
Well, our next story on Inside Baseball is some commentary from Yankees announcer Michael Kay in extra innings of a Pirates-Yankees game the other day. Basically, Kay is saying that they're not building around Paul Skenes. They're not even really trying. You got some comments. Here's Michael Kay. We talked about the Pirates not doing much at all during the offseason. The free agent contracts they signed were all one-year deals to veterans to trying to fill out the roster. Tommy Pham, Andrew McCutcheon, Andrew Heaney, no multi-year deals. So I looked it up. The last multi-year free agent deal they signed was in November of 2016. And do you know who that was? Ivan Nova. Continuing, Kay then goes into their owner, saying their owner has been here at the ballpark all weekend, and he's getting jeered every time they see his face. I mean, we're seeing reasons why in other parts of the game, not just the roster. But you can't say it's too small of a town. The Steelers sell out every game. The Penguins do great as well. And
Sneaky good food, too. Sneaky good food.
Everyone knows about Primanti Brothers over there. Beef sandwiches. I mean, how can you go wrong with beef sandwiches, to be honest with you? This could be just like Cleveland. The Guardians contend almost every single year. And the thing that has really angered fans the most is they have an all-time pitcher in Paul Skenes who has electrified the baseball world, and they did nothing to build a competitive team around him. Boys, how do you feel about that kind of criticism?
First of all,
about them not spending.
I want to say something. Why is Michael Kay throwing anybody under the bus?
It was like the 11th inning or something.
I'm just saying. Michael Kay, who had one of the best shows in all of New York sports and around the country, he ditches his show. He goes around talking about how great his show is because he's the biggest and he's the best. And then he disappears months on end and then shows his face because his name is on the brand. Okay? Let's not get into it, Michael Kay. You shouldn't be attacking an organization. I'm not saying the organization is right. They should be going out and spending money. But nevertheless, did they let Brian Reynolds go? Brian Reynolds is still there. The Yankees wanted Brian Reynolds. So did the Red Sox. They didn't just trade him away. They kept him, and they're holding on to him as long as they could. Now, Brian Reynolds isn't the player that we thought he was going to be, but nevertheless, they didn't just throw him away and trade him like we've seen them do over the years. So I disagree in many different ways on what Michael Kay is saying. But then going back to what the truth is, they're an organization that doesn't go out there and spend money. We all know that. And they let players go. If you look at some of the best pitchers or some of the great pitchers, there's one guy that is playing for the Yankees right now. His name's Garrett Cole. They let him go. They traded him away to who? The Astros, okay? And then he goes to the Yankees and gets a big contract. Now, to me, you don't do something like that when you have an unbelievable pitcher of that magnitude. And now they have Skenes. How long is it going to take where you're going to hear stories that Paul Skenes is going to be traded to, a Red Sox team or a Yankee team or a Dodger team because the organization can't hold on to him. So Michael Kay is right in some ways. He shouldn't be speaking. He shouldn't be the one opening his mouth.
And I think it's too early to tell because they have talent. I mean, look at O'Neal Cruz. I don't know if you throw IKF in there as, a one-year Band-Aid.
He's hitting 300.
Yeah.
O'Neal Cruz is hitting 211. I mean, it's still early. They're 40 bats in.
That dude's a freak athlete, though.
Yeah, he's a beast. He'll get coming.
He'll figure it out. And then, him making the adjustment to the outfield, too, and making these plays. So it's not like they don't have guys around him. Michael Kay.
Go ahead, Joba. Drop the hammer. Just one thing. Just say one thing. Go ahead.
I always hated how he's killing us on the broadcast because I don't go to the bullpen till the fourth or the fifth inning, but then he can go on his radio show and the next morning and praise us. So he was able to have his cake and eat it too, but he just bury us in one breath. And then I'm like, dude, figure it out. Like, I get you're trying to light both ends of the candle, but like, you either like support us or you don't, and just be like, yeah, they're not good. Like, but he never did. He always tried to play that game. But I'm not saying he's not good at what he's at, but like to say they haven't built, Skenes hasn't even been around long enough to build anything around it, really.
2 years. 2 years.
I mean, it's not even 2 years.
Yeah.
It's only. I mean, it's been a year now.
Yes, but this is his second year. So
yeah, going into a second.
Yeah.
Now after this year and maybe going into arbitration, if they don't make a move, then maybe there's some validity to it. But right now, with the talent that they have, they're not a bad squad.
No, and they have Jared Jones who's on the IL as well. Jared Jones.
And of course, if Heaney can even be half of what he is, as he shoved it up the Yankees' ass the other day,
he needs another one. But yeah, the Jones I think is going to be Skenes and Jones are going to be spectacular. Obviously Skenes is, but I think Jones is right there. He could be a 1 or 2 on another team. Just happens to be behind Paul Skenes and with the Pirates right now.
This is the Vladimir Guerrero extension. $325 million out of the $500. Signing bonus up front.
ridiculous.
Cash. So if you want to talk present value, Goody, this is quite the interesting deal. So I have some interesting facts about it from The Athletic today. So baseball's collective bargaining agreement does not restrict the amount a team can include in a signing bonus. The bonus, however, is included in the calculation of a player's average annual value for luxury tax purposes. Including salary, Guerrero's annual luxury tax hit will be $35 $8.71 million. For Guerrero, the benefit of doing this, I'm just going to paraphrase a little bit, is there's two reasons. Number one, signing bonuses are allocated to an athlete's state of residence. And guess where Vlad lives, his permanent
Florida,
address?
baby.
Florida, with state without income tax. So obviously, he gets to not pay taxes for the state on 325 of that 500 million. Huge little thing that's not so little right there. And I think we're going to see a lot of teams starting to use this little trick. The other part is if there's a lockout, work stoppage for any reason, I don't know, war with Canada, he will still get paid his signing bonus money from that salary. So it's an interesting thing, guys. I don't think there's ever been a contract like this. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it here on Inside Baseball?
I will say this: anybody that gets $325 million and weighs, almost 280 pounds or 250 pounds, you would have to worry about it. The guy is 26, but how long is it going to take for his body to break down? And I don't give a guy $325 million up front. I wouldn't. I would never do that. I wouldn't even do that with LeBron James, and he was a sure thing. I think this is outrageous. I think it's crazy. And I think Toronto is going to be looked at as an organization that really doesn't know what they're doing. Nobody would do this. Not even the Mets. Steve Cohen makes $1 billion a year, and he wouldn't do that. So it doesn't make any sense the way they divvied out this money. And to me, I'm not blaming the player. The player, good for him. He just made $325 million. I just look at the organization. Wow, the Blue Jays must be really that stupid. So a terrible, terrible, terrible move by the Blue Jays. And it makes their organization look like a half-assed run organization.
We've seen some signing bonuses, but can't say we've seen one like this. I don't know if it's their plea to keep what fan base they have, because they've kind of built it, but they've also gotten, rid of some guys and things of that nature. So I don't know if it's more of but yeah, if they agreed to give you $325 up front, why in the hell would you not take it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you take it. Yeah,
the faster I get it, the faster I invest it. So not only now, I'm in retrospect, I'm going to be making more money on an AAV, because now I'm investing that money in however they do it. So now I'm still getting my AAV, but then I'm making money on top of money that I already have, and I'm going to continue to make money. So yeah, the fact that they'd agreed to it blows my mind for that much. I've seen like 50 up front. I think the most before this was maybe 100. But if they're like, yes, we want $325 up front, and they're like, yep, sign it, here you go. I poked my damn finger with blood and signed that, but I couldn't do it fast. It was crazy.
That is pretty absurd. I saw an article saying Vladdy Jr. called his dad, Vlad Sr., and they were like, well, what did your dad say? And he said he smirked, and he said he smiled, and he said, trust God, and take the organization for every last penny they have. And I'd say he pretty much did right there. $325 million up front, no questions, guaranteed contract. That's awesome. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for baseball. I love it. I love to see big money being thrown around, especially the guys who earned it and deserve it. So,
well, when you see this, Goody, and this is when this happens, the guys behind you only benefit. That's why our union is so strong, and how guys can get this stuff, because now there are going to be other guys the caliber of Vlad that are going to be like, well, he got $325 up front, and setting these markers of what they can do. And it's really cool how all of us in our union are like, hey, there's some shitty conversations that you have. Be like, dude, what'd you sign that for? You took early money that doesn't help the guy behind you. Like, I remember I signed the highest non-closer arbitration deal in MLB history. The first call I got was from Michael Weiner. And he was like, good for you. You set a benchmark. And then I think Breslow beat it the next year. And so it's like you keep setting these marks where, and everybody is like, thank you. Like, this is great. This is great for us. And now you're seeing, obviously, with the deferred money, which has been around forever, but now being more at the forefront, and then seeing numbers like this, it's just guys coming behind can do nothing but smile, because now they've seen what contracts are capable of at this point that have never been done before.